hanging the window of the janitor's closet, and on that ledge there was a sneaker that had a rip in it, right around where the toe goes. The big toe had a big rip. So you can't see that from inside. So she went up above and looked down from up above and saw the ledge and saw the sneaker with the little rip in the toe. And she did the same thing, like, what's going on? So she asked other medical doctors, surgeons, cardiologists, and they had similar experience, but they just wrote it off as like, we don't understand this. So she wrote a book about it. So out-of-body experiences, there's different categories, and those out-of-body experiences have some consistent features to them. The consciousness, the conscious self witnesses what.
Spirituality is important is because it is the reason why
My
spirituality is important.
my computer has got a mind of its own. Somebody changed the timing. I didn't. Do you know the fellow that changed the timing? Yeah. Do you know how to change? Find out from me how to change it back. Because I'm going to do this again, and I don't want the same thing. Just skipping. Okay. Find out from me how to change the timing. Not now, but Are you going to be with us at Rice?
Yes.
Okay. So between now and Rice, you can find out and you can fix it. Just to repeat the principle, out-of-body experiences are sometimes it's car accident, it's a traumatic event is a common circumstance. And when the trauma happens, sometimes people have an OBE, an out-of-body experience. And the out-of-body experience is they're looking at their body lying on the pavement after a car accident or whatever the circumstance is, and they're observing their body from another place, from a vantage point of where the soul is near where the body is. And the same series, visual, auditory, mind, if they can remember the whole thing. Not everybody remembers, but some people do. And there's the consistency in those three factors. So here's a fellow, looks very different than I look, but he's going to say the same thing. This is a TikTok interviewer. There you see up top, that's the interviewer on the other side of the table. And this actor is going to say the same thing that I've been saying. Let's see if it will work. I'm sure it would work.
The reason why spirituality is important is because it is reality. We are not human beings having spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Who I am and what I am is not my body. It's not even my personality. It's not the trauma I suffered. It's not what I've been through. That there is a little spark of the divine inside of me. There's hard data that shows around mental health and well-being that having serenity, meaning, purpose, a losing of oneself to a transcendent self of the divine increases greatly the quality of our lives. We're a part of something much greater and much more beautiful than ourselves, and in living in that state can greatly enrich your life.
I agree. It's a nice little reference. Here's a fellow you probably know more about than the ship of Theseus or Plutarch. Schrödinger, the father of quantum mechanics. Consciousness cannot be accounted for in physical terms, for consciousness is absolutely fundamental. So he has a different way of saying the same thing, but he's saying the same thing. Here's a nice diagram of the little spark of life, that soul, that guy inside the center, and from that center place, consciousness radiates out. So there's this teaching that I heard a few years ago from Prabhupada that I was very captivated by, The jiva is both conscious and possesses consciousness. And when I heard him say it several times, it caught my attention, and I thought, this sounds cool. What does it mean? The soul, the jiva, is both conscious and consciousness. Then I read further and I came across an Upanishadic statement that's very simple. It goes like this: just as a lamp, that's why with the image, is luminous and spreads light throughout the room, whereby one can see pots and plates. That's the statement. So unpack it, and the jiva, the living entity, is both conscious and possesses consciousness. So consciousness spreads. Here's an example. I like graphics. So here's an egg that has some light coming out of the egg shell. So the jiva is both conscious and consciousness. It extends consciousness here and there. And here's expanded consciousness. The shell of the egg is further open. And here's what you might call nirvana, where the soul, or possibly an out-of-body experience, the soul is situated separately from the covering of the soul. Or that's the state of nirvana, ideal state of nirvana, from the Sanskrit perspective, or from the Western perspective, an out-of-body experience. So soul is both conscious and consciousness. Here's a nice little example of the same thing. Here's a nice fellow over here on the right. He's a Chinese fellow, and he has a friend. He has a little beard. He's smoking on who knows what kind of a pipe, and he has a friend that has similar characteristics. He's also Chinese. He's got a nice beard, and they have other things in common. One of those things in common is they both have a soul within the body, but each soul is slightly different. So there's different colors of the souls within the two friends, and both have the same super soul within the heart of their bodies. Now this little caption across the top is taken directly from Prabhupada's Bhagavatam purports. That is, there is a way, can we close the door? There is a way to have a soul-to-soul relationship, one soul to another soul, through the via media of the super soul. Very simple. Soul-to-soul relationship, like this phrase, soul brothers. Soul-to-soul relationship, not minus Supreme, but in relation to the Supreme, or through the medium of the Supreme. So what differentiates a man? This keeps changing without the timing keeps moving. What differentiates us from a machine? And that's the same answer, consciousness. Once upon a time, maybe 25 years ago, I was making presentations in high school classrooms. And so I understood this principle, so I made a light machine. The light machine was made with plexiglass, and it was bigger in size. It fit on the desk, and there was a little button on the top. And when you pressed the little button on the top, it would signal shining a red light on a photosensitive chip across just below where that light was, and then that would trigger a printout machine to print out a message that says, "I see a red light." It wasn't too complicated, pretty simple. And it worked. It was one of the nice things. So press the button, I see a red light, or whatever else, just like these robots that are delivering food around the campus. It's just a robot and following a program. Go here and stop, and sometimes they say hello and things like that. So they imitate human behavior. So where in this red light machine is there consciousness? And the answer is there isn't any. There's a behavior, but the experience of seeing a red light is absent. The conscious experience is absent because consciousness is absent because the soul is absent. So behaviors are not the same as an indicator of consciousness, like the robots that deliver the food around campus. They're not conscious. There's somebody over there programming, designing and programming and sending. And there's a person behind the machine. That's the idea. Here's another nice little example. All this is pointing to the same point. Here's a scientist who spent some time, probably a research grant, to find out what bodies are made up of. And here's what they found. There's enough iron to make 6 small nails, enough carbon to make 900 pencils, enough sugar to sweeten 10 cups of coffee. Of course, depends how much sugar you use. Potassium to fire a toy cannon, and then miscellaneous other things. Enough lime and fat to make 7 bars of soap, phosphorus to make 20 matchboxes, water to fill a 10-gallon tank, and some miscellaneous other items. A little sulfur, calcium, and other trace elements. Put it all together. If you went to a shop that sold all these things, and it would come to about $20 worth of chemicals. So then, what's more valuable, the $20 worth of chemicals or the human life? Here's a photograph of a car wreck. It's a BMW. So when the BMW got smashed, its value is certain more than $20, but the friend got smashed too. And so, which is more valuable, the BMW or the soul? In practical terms, you can replace the BMW, but you can't replace your friend. Almost done. This is a nice image, another graphic I like. So this fellow that's sitting there, that's us, looking at life. And on one side of life is birth, the other side is death, and in between is what you make with your life. So asking the question, that's what we're doing. Who am I? Like, what goes in that space called life? Am I truly happy? We want to be happy. Are we truly happy? What's my goal of life? What's this human life meant for? And after this life, what's next? So generally people don't get too worked up about these questions. But the idea of this little presentation is at least to invite people to go to Bhagavad Gita and find out from Bhagavad Gita what Bhagavad Gita says, because it's Krishna's, the topmost authority teaching. So there's university professors here at the university. You're coming to get knowledge from them. Best to get knowledge from the most intelligent person, the supreme person. Best professor of all professors. That's Krishna's Bhagavad Gita. Some of you may know a little bit about Lord Chaitanya and Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami is pictured here on the right. He was born in a Brahmin family, vastly learned, etc., etc., etc. Highly placed aristocratic family. He left it all and went to take shelter of Lord Chaitanya, where he asked this very same question, the who am I question, Kayami. The second question, why do the threefold miseries always give me trouble? Like I want happiness and instead I get trouble. So why? Why? Why is a good question. Who am I and why am I forced to undergo tribulation when I don't want it? So this little presentation is the end. It's just thoughtful ideas. And I attribute these ideas, of course, to Krishna, but to my spiritual master, who sacrificed left, right, and sideways to make this knowledge available to people all over the world. And Bhagavad Gita is now translated in so many languages, and published by BBTs in so many languages. And along with the knowledge, there's the purity that's needed in order to understand and realize that knowledge and that purity come from the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So there's the nice Hare Krishna mantra. And Lord Chaitanya holding a set of japa beads and encouraging us to chant Hare Krishna, take shelter of the acharyas that give this transcendental knowledge, and to become conversant with the message of Bhagavad Gita. And that's it. Who am I?